The view of the world is a bit crisper when seen from a motorcycle. The smells, temperature changes, the dirt in your teeth, and the winds howl in your ears. I wanted to feel and glimpse the West that way, to ride through it, exposed and following an unbeaten path. I would set out on the Trans-America Trail, a lone Texan aboard a well-used, oversized dirt bike, on my own westward odyssey from Texas to Colorado, and onward to the Pacific Ocean and Oregon. My bike is a 2005 KLR 650 that I dubbed the Mule. It's a reliable, heavy machine. Some call it the motorcycle that is not good at anything, but will do everything. Despite its lack of luxury, the Mule will carry me nearly 6,000 miles and through 8 states during the next 3 months. Colorado proves to house some of the most scenic sections of the journey, an enduro rider's paradise, and where I first set rubber to the Trans Am Trail. The forest roads are abuzz with motorcycles, and tourists from Texas piloting 4x4s and UTVs. I passed through the mountain towns of Salida, Lake City, Silverton, and over the rugged peaks that separate them. All maps point west. The Mule and I ascend through aspen groves and crisscross cold mountain streams. We climb above the tree line and traverse the famed alpine passes with names like Cinnamon, Marshall, and Orford, until the mountains gradually fall away behind us. It's down the western slope of the Rocky Mountain Range and over the rolling Colorado Plateau all the way to Utah. My first day in Utah begins with a flat tire. It's my third flat since central Colorado, and the scariest one yet as it occurs on the highway and at high speed. After replacing another inner tube, I set off on the long, straight road to Moab, a destination that has loomed in my head since the outset of the trip. An outdoor mecca, Moab sits on a playground of red boulders that are worthy of glossy magazine articles and viral GoPro videos. I try my hand at Slick Rock. The route is marked by a white dotted line that weaves through giant slabs of sandstone. Admittedly, the Mule is a bit heavy for Slick Rock's twists and drops, but I couldn't leave Moab without riding it. I soon discovered that Utah is a place of harsh beauty. For all of its magnificent color and high desert vistas, there lies an equal amount of unforgiving terrain, a landscape that heightens my sense of vulnerability. In sections of the Beehive State, you can ride nearly 100 miles of trail without seeing another person, and the roads are some of the roughest yet, rocky, narrow, and steep. The Mule and I have weaved through miles of scrubby hills and open rangeland, over the San Rafael Swell, and into long sections of national forest, climbing and dropping thousands of feet in a day, until the big descent to the Utah-Nevada desert. I've never felt so alone as in the desert, miles from anything, just me, my bike, heat, and dirt. I crossed into Nevada after 2 weeks on the road, smack near the eastern center of the state near a town called Baker. Desolate is my best word for describing this section of the trail. Long expanses of sand and gravel that stretch to the horizon. I motor through the remnants of desert brush fires and kick up great plumes of ash behind me. And the way is littered with gates, barbed wire contraptions that require dismount and an attentiveness to not run into them. This is BLM land, used by local ranchers to house their cattle. I quicken the pace in the desert and try to escape the triple-digit temperatures. The mule runs strong despite the heat as we head northwest through breathtaking sections of the Humboldt-Toyabe National Forest, Basque Country, home to the Spanish sheep herders and gold mines. There are no signs for state lines on the dirt roads that crisscross the west, just rangeland dotted with the occasional water trough or bog crossing to relieve the heat. The trail begins to bend at the Oregon-Nevada state line and dips south into California, 3 states in one day. I'm relieved to have touched soil in the state where I'll reach the trail's end, if only just briefly. This corner of southeast Oregon is not what you picture when thinking of the Pacific Northwest. It's dry, hot, covered in sagebrush, and littered with beds of silt that feel like baby powder beneath my wheels.
What'd you get at 20-pack?
Perhaps some of the greatest treasures of traveling are the people you meet along the way. They make the experience especially richer after spending the last few weeks alone on the road. Tobias, Lane, Rory, and I all met in Colorado when I was just 3 days into my trip. We spent a day riding together before splitting ways. This photo is from a camp in Oregon after we meet up again weeks later and ride to the coast as a group. There's Tobias from Virginia aboard his KLX 250. Lane from Denver on her Kawasaki Sherpa. Rory, also from Denver, who rides a DRZ 400. And Ishmael from Connecticut. He too rides a KLR. Ishmael and I crossed paths in Northeast California. Like the other 3, he has been riding since the East Coast, and like me, he has ridden alone most of the way. By this time in our journey, the bikes have taken a beating. Air filters are clogged, the engines suck oil. Tobias bump starts his bike through all of Oregon, through the neighborhoods in the hip town of Bend, where we stop to see the sights and camp in the front yard. And I promptly shatter the housing on my borrowed GoPro after hitting a seemingly ordinary rock in the road. But it was onward over the Cascades, through miles of great evergreen forests, some decimated by fire. Oregon, the last state on our maps, soon shows that our path to the coast will not be an easy one. Our maps lead us to sections that become overgrown with brush, blocked by fallen trees, where the trail seemingly disappears into the forest. We take many detours, inventing routes along the logging roads as we go. One of the scariest moments during our final push to Port Orford occurs when we come along a rock slide that takes out the majority of the road. The only way around skirts a large boulder, while a steep, bone-breaking drop lay on our opposite side. There is just enough room to snake a motorcycle by after we shed our panniers and luggage. I am glad to be riding with friends in moments like these. Our last few days on the trail pass in a hurry. We are all eager to see the Pacific Ocean, especially Lane, Rory, and Tobias, who dipped their tires in the Atlantic 5,000 miles ago. The scenery grows more lush the nearer to the coast we get. The trees grow taller, and you can feel the salt in the air. Every river and stream that we follow eventually spills into the mighty Pacific. Though we are in a hurry to finish the trail, none of us are ready to leave Oregon anytime soon. I arrive in Port Orford 1 month to the day of my departure, on the heels of 4 new friends and travel companions. We motor down the beach and touch our tires to the cold Pacific water. Rory promptly jumps into the icy waves, and Ishmael gets his bike stuck. We all have a little champagne and marvel at how far we've come. The mule and I traversed nearly 3,000 miles in the month since we left Texas. We passed through parts of this country seldom seen by most Americans, places that you won't find on a gas station map. The West is a tremendous place, both in its size and grandeur. It can be formidable and awe-inspiring. It was good sharing some of that with Rory Lane, Tobias, and Ishmael. We would all go our separate ways after touring Oregon for a few weeks, and I would begin the long ride home, another journey in itself.